Hello, readers, friends. I am Samantha from Macauley Publishers, and today I have the honor of interviewing Dr. Frank, also one of our fellow authors here at Macauley Publishers. He has just released his new title, Lillian, A True Story about a woman with multiple personality disorder. Welcome, Frank.
I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
So Frank, would you mind just letting our readers know how did you come about to learning about Lillian's story and meeting her firsthand?
Lillian had made a suicide attempt on the brink of Niagara Falls, was rescued by the park police and brought into the hospital where she was psychiatrically hospitalized. In those days, I was making hospital rounds in the morning with the psychiatrist that was assigned to Lillian. So I sat in on some of those therapy sessions, and then subsequently, the psychiatrist asked me to see her son. And I had the opportunity to work with Lillian and many of her personalities and her son together.
No, that's amazing opportunity. And we're going to delve into that here. So, could you also explain before we get into Lillian's story, what is multiple personality disorder? I know there has been films and books out there for the general public, but it'd be great to hear about it from a professional's point of
It,
view.
it's a dissociative disorder, but unlike other dissociative disorders, the traumas that cause the dissociation occur at around age 3 or 4, before one's identity is completely formed. So the traumas are so shattering that identity never really comes together. The person never really feels like one whole person.
Interesting. Okay. And on to that note, how does the unconscious and conscious mind work with an individual who has multiple personality disorder compared to an individual who doesn't?
Uh, Individuals, all of us have, according to the theory, all of us have a conscious and an unconscious mind. The unconscious mind keeps our impulses, forbidden thoughts, urges, and unacceptable behavior away from our conscious mind. It's different with multiple personality disorder. It's not a matter of that. It's a matter that the person's identity has been split by trauma, and they don't have any awareness of the other parts of their personalities. They literally do not know that they have many personalities. They just know that they lose track of time, that they disappear for periods of time, that they find clothing in their closet that they never recall buying, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so that can be not just eruptive to the people around them, but the patient and individual themselves.
That's right.
And what could you tell us about your experience with Lillian? I mean, how she presented physically and her original personality compared to, seeing the contrast of the multiple personalities that showed within your experience with her.
Yes, when I first met Lillian, and throughout the entire time that she was in treatment, she really had the posture, appearance, mannerisms of someone who had been severely abused. She spoke in a very soft, almost inaudible voice. She looked away. She didn't make eye contact. She walked in a fashion where she was sort of slumped over. She looked like a person whose will had been broken.
Wow.
By contrast, a number of the personalities were strong-willed, lively, and had strong opinions and stood up for themselves.
I see. So that was very different and kind of still showing that that was part of Lillian's personality that just wasn't being portrayed in maybe the most traumatized version of her, um, as she was shrinking away when you saw her in her original state.
That's right.
Interesting. And what movies would you compare Lillian to that are, have been in the media?
Three Faces of Eve, Sybil, Split, all those movies focus on this split in identity,
Right.
persons having different identities.
Yeah, and would you say that Lillian is a more realistic take on those stories and just the general narrative of multiple personality disorder?
Yes, Lillian's story is a true story. It was taken from the 22 journals that she kept during her treatment. It's the actual story of what occurred. Nothing is embellished. All of it is the actual truth.
And, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you also have boxes of tapes and recordings of Lillian, correct?
Yes, boxes of tapes, recordings, letters, documentation. I'm still going through some of it.
I would also say, do you think that despite the story being more realistic, it's still just as intriguing as maybe Split or Sybil, where it tends to be more of a thriller-esque?
I think in many ways it's more intriguing.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, because it's the true story, and you when you read it, you find it believable.
Definitely agree. Also, after reading the book, I feel like the personalities and the flip of the switch of those personalities, it seems unbelievable. And obviously, someone who doesn't have that disorder, but you quickly realize this is reality for Lillian and the people around her. So I would agree with that, that despite, just because it's reality and more truthful to real life, doesn't make it less intriguing. I feel like I was very drawn in, and you really get to see the character development with all the personalities and the people in her life. So I would agree with you there. What did you learn from Lillian's story and about the triumph of her condition that she experienced towards the end of the story?
Lillian healed from multiple personality disorder, and she did it because she was an extraordinary person, determined to get well, and showed great courage. And she had wonderful doctors. Her psychiatrists were very good at what they're at their craft. And the combination of that and the unconditional love of her husband and her aunt really carried her through. And it's inspirational. It wasn't just the science of psychiatry that resulted in Lillian's healing. It was all of the combination of all of those factors.
Yes, and I feel like there was a big theme of love, not just between her and Jimmy's relationship, as some of the personalities didn't consider Jimmy a husband, just of the nature of those personalities, but just the commitment that he had, and even just providing for all of the hobbies that each personality had during financial hardships.
That's true.
Um, And in general, I feel like the fact that Lillian was able to have a family and get married as someone that went through so much trauma, she still experienced moments of happiness, even though there was many moments of darkness within her life.
She did. Also, it depends on which personality she was at any given time. He actually married Lillian, but the personality that he fell in love with was Lucy.
Yeah, so it makes for a very dynamic relationship, and shows Jimmy's resilience throughout this whole life. Um,
He was a remarkable man, and Lillian wanted the book dedicated to him, and as it was.
Amazing. Um, And kind of to wrap up here, what are some humorous moments from the book? I mean, there was some dark tones and some real, heavy hitting details and moments within the book, but there was many funny moments.
There were. I mean, one that stands out in my mind always is the coming out of personality Robin Jean. So Robin Jean held all of Lillian's sexual feelings and interest in men.
Right.
She was seductive. She was sexy, and the first thing she wanted to do was she wanted to go to a mall with Jean. So when they went to the mall, she immediately spied Fredericks of Hollywood and dragged Jean along. Jean was what I call a church lady. She was a Christian, played organ music in the church. She was embarrassed to be seen there. But once in there, she joined Lillian, Robin Jean, and they had this hysterical back and forth about various lingeries that perhaps Jimmy would enjoy. And it was just hilarious. There were other scenes as well. Uh, Amy is a delightful 6-year-old personality who comes running across the stage at the Presbyterian Church presentation and leapfrogs up onto a piano bench. Imagining that, and at the same time, she's 5'2" and weighs 205 pounds and looks like an adult.
She is a multiple personality, and the purpose of this tape is to let her see what the other personalities look like. And so, first of all, we want her to see what she looks like and what her personality is like. So I'm going to ask you some leading questions, since we got all the werewolves scared away. And again, this is for our own purposes. It's not a professional. It's not meant to be a professional tape. It's for us to look at, for you to see. And you're all dressed up pretty for the program of the church tonight. Nice. You look beautiful. And that rose, that's our single rose again, isn't it?
I don't have any jokes to
You
tell.
didn't think of a joke, Lucy? Oh, come on. Can't you think of one? Oh, we didn't have time to let you think about it, did we?
No, I write my name.
That's right. I want you to write your name. Sign in to painting.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And you paint in particular animals. Right. Does Julie paint?
No,
Not at all.
she writes poetry.
I expected that answer. And are you, what do you think about integration?
No way.
No way. No integration for you.
No.
Now, you only have a part of the life. You don't have 24 hours a day, do you?
No, but I make use of my time very successfully.
Very successfully. I would say you get, watch the tablecloth, dearie. Okay, Robin Jean, you know what I'm going to ask you to do is to sign in.
I'm the age of consent.
Ooh, all right. And that's not the same in every state, is it?
I'm not concerned about it. Well, Jean is Jean. And Robin is Dr. Robinson.
That was a neat choice. I hadn't thought of putting those two together.
Well, now see, if I use part of his name, he could at least get a little bit of a message there, but he didn't.
You did? What was the message you were trying to give him?
So I was willing to go along with whatever suggestions he had
Woo!
to help Lil in her sex therapy, but he didn't take me up on it. In the purse, I got a lot of...
Bring it up here. Let's see what's in that purse.
Whole bunch.
Whole bunch. Bring out all the things that are Amy's in that purse. I want to see a whole bunch of things that are Amy's. Yeah.
Yeah.
There. There's your lipstick, it says. Flavor Savers. What
My
else?
Amy doll.
Where did that come from? It's important, isn't it?
Yeah, even if I did.
I love you
I
no
got
matter
another
what.
doll.
You got another, okay. Oh, I never saw that one, Amy. Where did that come from?
You know Jamie's
Yeah.
daddy?
Jamie's daddy?
You buy one for Jamie, you buy one for him.
What is it?
McDonald.
McDonald. Ronald McDonald. Well, he could hang on the Christmas tree, Amy.
No, I want to carry him
Yeah, he belongs
Yeah.
in. He goes every place with you. What else is in that purse of yours? There, Candy.
I probably could one, but 12 different handwritings.
Yeah, and to remember to keep it.
Yeah, no, that's very, very crazy to think about those switches. And I also recall a scene in the book where the personality Rose had a traumatic memory, I think, from a ceramic kind of material or decoration. And I recall multiple nurses having to hold her down because of the strength that was coming out of her in that moment.
All of her rage came out during a therapy session with Dr. Robinson in the hospital. And she just tore through the hospital floor, determined to get out of the hospital. And Dr. Robinson landed a flying tackle. The nurses piled on. They really had to subdue her. She was that powerful. And they had to medicate her heavily and then put her in a psychiatric intensive care room where she couldn't hurt herself.
Wow.
The fascinating story is that Dr. Robinson used hypnosis with Rose. He gave her the suggestion that he was going to put the personality of Rose in a pill bottle, which he did. So, and that he would let her out when he thought that it was safe because she could be dangerous.
Yeah.
So I'm in Dr. Robinson's office one morning, and nobody's in the office but me, and there is the pill bottle on his desk.
Oh, wow.
And just for a split moment, I thought, do I dare open it? Just for a moment, I thought Rose was in there. And I just turned and walked away, and I just laughing at myself. But when you're a reader in the story, you become part of the story. And
Of course.
You find each one of these personalities to be a real person.
Yeah, I really feel like Lillian's story goes to show how these abstract ideals and connections that we have in our brain manifest themselves physically. And it's very clear through this disorder that there is a strong connection there.
Yeah, we all have some splits of our own. We all think, well, if I wasn't like this, I would be like that. I've always wanted to be that way, but I can't be because it's not me. That sense of a certain kind of split within us.
Yeah, and I can't help but bring up this popular meme of three Spider-Mans holding guns at each other, kind of portraying, when you're at odds with yourself, like who are you pointing the gun at, and who's the good guy and the bad guy within ourselves. And I think Lillian's story is a literal view of that in reality. So overall, this was amazing, Frank, and thank you for sharing your insights, not only as the author, but as a psychologist and person in the medical field. So I really appreciate this, and for coming here and talking to our readers.
Thank you for the opportunity to bring Lillian's story forward. She wanted her story told, and it's gratifying to me to be able to do that, to be her voice.
Amazing. So the book is available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and our website for orders. So if you are interested, feel free to have a look. Thank you again, Frank, and we will talk soon.